Hey friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm back with a new layout. This one is for the Hip Kit Club and it's part of this week's Mixed Media Monday. And I wanted to start with this really pretty striped Chamel Glitter Girl paper and kind of tie it in with some of the Paige Evans Turn the Page papers. And I don't know why, but I had the inkling to use one of my old school punches and punch some strips. I guess the strips on this paper sort of inspired me to think about that, but at this point I went to my wall of punches and picked out, you can kind of see it there on the right, it's one of my old Martha Stewart punches, and it's just a fun chevron. I haven't used it in forever, and like I said, I don't know what made me want to do this. I think it was just the pattern paper. So I'm going to cut out, I actually got the paper kit and the main kit, and so I'm going to use both of these papers because I'm going to create a bunch of strips, and that's all I knew at this point. I didn't know what I was going to do with these strips or how I was going to arrange them on my background. I didn't even really know if I was going to use cardstock or pattern paper. I just wanted to kind of go for it and see what I could come up with. So that's all I'm doing here, and all of these strips are different sizes. You know, some of them are really long, some of them are short, and I definitely wanted to include the wood grain brown pattern in there just because it's different and I don't use that color an awful lot, and so I thought that would be a pretty mix. I like the way it looked mixed in with all the colors before I cut the paper up, and so I wanted to keep that in there. So here I've got my strips done, and some of the papers are from the Paige Evans Turn the Page collection, and so I just picked a couple that matched, and I decided to use this gray cardstock as my background, and that comes in this month's cardstock kit. And I thought, I'm going to make a big heart with all of these chevron strips on it. So I just grabbed a sheet of cardstock that's white and just folded it in half and did an old school heart cut. I didn't even try to draw it. I just went for it and started to cut it. I'm actually going to change photos, but right now in my mind, I wanted to use a black and white picture since I've got so many colors going on. So I thought I was going to start at the top. I go ahead and stick one down, and then I realized that I want the chevrons to kind of overlap the top of each strip, and so it would probably be better if I started at the bottom, and so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to start to work from the bottom up and just overlap the next strip on top of the one I've already glued down. And then I'm going to be able to kind of ruffle up the edges, and so they stick up. And so it's going to be this really fun, colorful, textured heart with all these fun chevrons on it. And I really love the mix of the different shades of pink, and like I said, the wood grain is really pretty. And I've got some patterns and some solids. I love how this looks. I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excess. And this is something that you could try with any shape punches. If you've got a scalloped punch, there's so many of those punches that I collected back in the day, and yeah, now I can ruffle it up and it's really, you know, textured. And I also did some machine stitching across some of the lines. I just went straight across with some gold. You can see it on the back there. And so this is kind of where I'm going to start. And I changed my mind. I went back through my pictures that I've got printed, that I've actually had printed for quite a while, and I found this one of Paige, and it's really old. I think it's from 2011, but the colors matched perfectly, and I thought it would complement all of those colors in the papers. So I traced the heart, and then I'm going to go through with my white gesso and my hand here and just smudge around the edges. And so this is going to sort of make the heart look like it's glowing, and it's also going to give me a little bit of white space because I'm going to come in with a color kit here in a minute and add some color. Not a lot, but just a little bit to sort of make the background a little bit messy. And I like how that makes the heart look like it's really popping off the page. These are the three colors from the color kit this month. I only use the pink and the yellow orange color because I didn't really have any of the red coral color in this layout. And so I'm only going to go with the ruby and the sunset strip. And the sunset strip, it can be yellow or it can be orange. It's kind of a cross in between. I think it kind of coordinates with both. It coordinates with all the yellows in the kit. I think it's a really good choice. And the pink is also a perfect mix. So you can see here, this is No rhyme or reason here. I'm just kind of going around to create a little bit of color on the outskirts of that heart. And now I'm going to glue it down. I'm going to leave the edges kind of loose, so if I want to tuck things underneath there, I can. And then I'm going to put the picture right there. That's where the picture is going to go, because she's looking over to the right, and I want her looking across the layout. And I think the colors match well. The colors in the photo are really bright. It's a really light picture. That might be why I haven't scrapped it yet, because I think I might have brightened it up too much, but I think it works with this layout. And the background it's bright, but it's also kind of dark colors. I guess maybe the gray background sort of makes the colors feel a little bit darker and richer, and then the photo being so light, it just really pops. So, you know, I can't leave well enough alone. I have to come back in with gesso again, and this time I'm on top of the heart, and I'm just smudging some down because I want to kind of break up the brightness of everything and just sort of make it look a little like there's different shades. So now the light pinks look even lighter, and the yellow looks even a little bit lighter, and this is also going to give me a little bit of area to add even more of the sprays. So now I'm going to play with embellishments. I'm going to really try to use that clip. I haven't used any of the paper clips yet, and I really wanted to use it. I'm just not sure where I'm going to put it yet. And I'm really not sure what I'm going to put around the picture, because that heart is so busy. I don't want to overwhelm the rest of the page, but I do want some stuff around the picture. And so I went through the die cuts, the wood veneer. I'm going to go through the sticker book, and this is all from Turn the Page. That's from one of the little 2x2 paper pads, and I wanted it to be a circle, and so my 2-inch circle punch was perfect for that. And I'm also going to use the other half, that little scalloped gold piece to the right there of the picture. I used the other half of that on my page from last week. And I want to use some more of these as my title. I think the color is perfect for this, since seems like I've got a lot of pink. I think one of these aqua title pieces would be great. I just got to figure out where to put it. So I like how this is looking for the most part. I'm going to go ahead and glue most of this together so I know where it's going to go. And I did add some foam behind my picture there to raise it up and give a little bit of dimension. Okay, so here's where I'm going to add even more depth around the picture. I'm going to go back to those 2 shimmers from the color kit and just kind of spray right on top of where I put the gesso. And it's just kind of break things up, so it's not so, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. It just kind of breaks things up between all the levels of the stripes, or not the stripes, the chevrons. And then I'm going to throw in some thread. You know me, I have to have my thread, and this is just some coordinating colors of the yellow and the dark pink. Sometimes I know in my mind what I'm doing, but I have a hard time explaining why. Other than I just like the way it looks. I know I say that a lot, but I think those 2 spots where I added the gesso behind the photo, it just allowed some more, it's created more of a solid area. Like there's a solid splotch of pink and now a solid splotch of yellow, and it just sort of makes the photo pop a little bit more against the rest of the heart, which is still pretty busy. Does that make sense? It makes sense in my crazy brain. I definitely wanted to use one of these cute little Amy Tangerine bows. I hadn't used those yet, so I'm going to settle on the pink one. And then I'm going to go to the Turn the Page sticker book and see what can I put where. And I almost used a butterfly, but then I thought, no, if I use one butterfly, I'm going to want to use more, and then it's going to get too busy. So I decided against the butterfly. And I glue everything down to this point and then work on this upper cluster. I decided it needed to be kind of smudged out too, just so I have 3 smudgy whited out areas now on the heart. And I'm going to use a color from my stash, which is Well Blue Me Down. And it's a really pretty aqua. I use it all the time along with Jenny B Blue. And I believe we got this in a color kit. It's been a while, but it did come in a shimmers kit. And I'm actually trying to blow on it, like, yeah, I was being impatient. I actually have to come back later, so it's going to be dry here shortly. So I'm going to stick that clip on and then stick that little circle underneath the clip, and then play around with a couple of these wood veneer pieces. And I'm also going to use that little bird. I tried to use another butterfly, but went with the flowers instead. And I'm liking how this is turning out. It was totally different. I really wasn't expecting to create a big chevron punched heart. I don't even, you know, like I said, I don't know. These ideas just pop into my head sometimes, and I just go with it. And I'm like, where did this layout come from? Did I really just make this? Sometimes I feel like it doesn't even look like a layout that I would make. I don't know. Is that weird? Do you ever do that? Do you ever create a layout and then you're like, did I really make this? It doesn't even look like me. Anyway, I'm going to create the most boring title ever, and it's going to be Happy Days. I'm going to use those really shiny metallic HipKit exclusive chipboard stickers, alphas, and then kind of curve the word happy over it. And some of the bottom parts of the P's are going to overlap, but that's okay. You can still read what it says. I didn't really know where else to put the happy. It's so big, and I didn't want to, you know, cover up a lot more of the heart, so it's going to go there. And I did decide to use this butterfly simply because I needed something right above the photo, and I felt like that rose gold butterfly wasn't such a color that would distract. You know, it's kind of a neutral. And then I added some aqua thread underneath that. These two hearts are going to go over here on the side. One is a die cut and one is a wood veneer. And then I'm going to add some pink thread underneath there just for a little bit of texture and color. I did add a little bit of foam underneath the pink heart because the texture of the big heart was so much, it was kind of tilted, so I wanted it to be even. One more piece of thread here. I'd already glued that down, but I sort of managed to get it in there. So now I've got, I think, 4 areas of thread. This is Heidi Swap Gold Color Shine from a long time ago in a HipKit, and love it, love it, love it. Gonna add some of that in, and then the last thing I'm going to do is use this little teeny tiny journaling spot, and I'm going to use it upside down and tuck it in there between those 2 little hearts. That's from the journaling spots from Turn the Page, and it's the perfect little area to add my journaling, and it's going to go right there. Last thing I'm going to do is add the date, and then that layout is finished. I had a fun time making this, even though it totally was not even on my radar. It just sort of happened, but I love the texture of all those chevrons. I love the colors. Yeah, I love the stitching. I think that looks so cool. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Different, but it was a lot of fun. So let me know if you have any questions about any of the HipKits, any of the shimmers, or any of the techniques, or anything at all. I'll be more than happy to answer. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next video. I hope you have a great week.